Hey everybody, this is Halstead and Andrew McMillan with REH CPA. Today we want to talk about some things you can do before year end to get some last minute tax deductions to reduce that taxable income, both on a business, from a business perspective and a personal perspective. I got Andrew McMillan here with me today. Andrew, what kind of advice can you give us before year end?
Yeah, if you're just looking for some easy things to do, if you're a small business owner, one of the easiest thing to do is like maybe prepay some of your expenses. So if you're a cash basis taxpayer, the IRS allows you to deduct up to prepay up to 12 months of expenses. So of reoccurring qualifying expenses. So these are going to be like your rent payments, maybe lease payments on a vehicle. You can prepay up to 12 months of those expenses and take a current year deduction for that. I kind of bring this up with clients, but I also let them know, I'm not a huge fan of this. It's kind of one of those classic happy now, sad later type things, because you get a big deduction now, but next year you could be like,
I really like it if you have a year which you had a lot of income and you know your next year is not going to be like that.
Yeah.
And like you don't want to pay tax on that money because it's not going to be like that the next year. That's when I really like accelerating the deductions to get them in this year. Because if not, then you're always playing this game going forward.
You're always trying to play catch up. So, but just know it's there. Some situations may make it make sense for you to do that. Another thing you can do is just defer income as much as possible. If you're a cash basis taxpayer, stop invoicing your customers, stop billing them. You just try to delay them making payments to you as best as possible. You kind of say that a little bit loose. I mean, it's a bit of a gray area. You certainly don't want to like not bill anybody for the last 6 months of the year, but there is a play there in late November, December, people are out on vacation. There's just a lot going on through those months. So you can kind of justify being a little behind on some of your billings.
And also remember, a lot of these things are tax or cash basis taxpayer strategies, not so much for your accrual basis taxpayer. Your accrual basis business, you can't really do a lot of this shifting. The invoicing piece, yes, but then,
Yeah. And then the other one, most small business owners already know is just, buy something, buy equipment, purchase a vehicle, buy computers, desks, chairs, things for your company, things you may need. Never want to recommend someone buying something they don't need. The tax rate's not 100%. So, sometimes it's better just to pay your tax depending on what your situation is.
Right.
But
don't spend $100,000 that you don't have to spend just to save 30.
Yeah,
it's bad math.
That's not anything I usually ever want to recommend. But if you're in the market for something new and you know you need something, go ahead and get it done before the end of the year. Place it in service so that we can make sure we maximize your deduction on that. But
that's a good point that you made right there. Not only is it buying it, but it has to be placed in service.
Yeah.
So if you buy it and pay for it, but it's still being shipped from China, you don't get that deduction until you place it in service.
Yeah, we've had some issues with that with some clients with COVID and supply chain issues and people taking forever to get stuff. So you want to make sure you've got whatever it is that you've purchased and you're using it for your business.
Right. And something for clients to remember, a lot of times it's just, it's hard to get a tax deduction without a capital outlay. So, they talk about all the time, what can I do? Well, you can go buy some equipment. Yeah, but I got to spend $100,000. Yeah, I understand.
Yeah, I mean, eventually the tax, what's death and taxes, eventually it's going to come for you. So,
like I said, I'm really big fan of this, especially if it's a 1 year where you got a big pop in 1 year and there's going to be a lot of income and it's not going to happen the next year. I really like doing these type of things. So that pretty much covers on the business side. What can you tell us on the personal side?
Individuals, I mean, if you're an individual and you take an itemized tax deduction, Schedule A, if you know you're doing that, taking an itemized tax deduction, just making sure you're getting your charitable contributions in before the end of the year. If you do that, paying your real estate taxes, personal property taxes, car taxes, boat taxes, trailer taxes, RV taxes, just getting all those personal property taxes paid in before the end of the year. Those are called SALT deductions, state and local tax. The cap on that's $10,000 a year. So most people are paying enough SALT taxes to get 10 grand. So that they maximize that deduction, but just make sure you're getting all of those in before the end of the year. Another kind of buzzword with your investor is just like tax loss harvesting. So if you've got some capital gains that you're going to have this year through a mutual fund or some sort of stock invested portfolio you have that's going to be taxable to you, so it's worth at least looking at your portfolio to see if you have any losers, any losses that maybe you want to sell off to help offset that gain. So that's something to always look at before the end of the year, and then really just make sure that you're deferring as much as you can afford through whatever pre-tax account you have with your employer, like a 401k, simple IRA, health savings accounts, flex spending accounts, whatever they may have as like a pre-tax deduction for you through your earnings. Make sure that you're maximizing as much as you can through that before the end of the year so that you can get as much of a tax deduction as you can. So those are just a few quick and easy ones. The other thing that I always just want to make sure individuals do is just make sure you understand what tax bracket you're in. Like everyone should have at least a general understanding of what they're going to owe come April.
Right. And let me tell you, one of the biggest questions we get all the time is, well, I would have rather, if I'd have known I owed this money, then I would have given some away to charity. I would have given $10,000 charity to save $10,000 in taxes. Well, it doesn't work that way.
Yeah, don't get caught.
You're going to give $10,000 to charity, but it's probably only going to be about a $2,000 reduction in your taxes. So it's not a one-for-one.
It's not, and just definitely don't assume that because you earn a W-2 wage that your withholdings are going to be correct. Because a lot of times maybe you got a bonus back in March that you forgot about, or the IRS sometimes fiddles with payroll tables and trying to get calculations done. Like those withholdings on your W-2 are all dependent on some computer system that's done a calculation for you.
That doesn't know your whole life, doesn't know everything that's going on,
So,
because it happens every year where we have a W-2, a person with a W-2, and then they have a bunch of stock sales or some other kind of income that doesn't have withholdings on it, or they have a spouse that has another job, and the withholding table is just not that smart. It doesn't know all that, so we see shortfalls, and then we have to help them get that corrected for the next year.
Just make sure you understand what your income is on at least a basic level and how much you have withheld towards it, just to try to at least know what your liabilities
Right.
be.
So we're currently, we're in the fourth quarter. We're taking a look at everybody's year-to-date income and projecting out through the remainder of the year to come up with some tax estimates so we can do a little bit of tax planning before year end. If you guys have any questions or you feel like you might like to have some tax planning done or some tax estimates done, feel free to give us a call and we'll help you out. Thanks.